Yo people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for another video. Big up your damn selves in the building. Make sure you smash up the likes every single damn time and subscribe if you are new. Brighton versus Chelsea preview. Let's get straight into it. There's a lot to discuss and the tone from Pochettino seems to be changing. He's more alluding to in this press conference that he is going to be here for next season, and he is looking at the data and talking with the directors about next season and just basically going against what was previously said about him having to have that meeting with the board and he'll make a decision as much as they'll make a decision. And he's kind of calmed those conversations down and said, no, that's not the way I wanted to talk about it. That's not the way I wanted to go. I wanted to come with a more positive vibe. So listen, he's a confusing man at times, but this is what is the latest press conference. And I did like some of the quotes. About the fans, I really liked. I'll read this one, my favourite one, to be honest. He says, that is a question for them if they like me. In Tottenham, the first season was tough also. What I don't like is we are not fake people. We are not going to say we love something that we are still looking for that emotional link. It's easy for me to arrive in the first game, kiss the badge, but it's not in my nature. I want to create real feelings. If we arrive one day and feel the love between the fans and us, it's going to be real, not fake, because we are not fake people. I really like that because we've seen players, Lukaku, kiss the badge, backing on better and create this kind of narrative and this PR stunt that the connection is stronger than it actually is. Whereas he's going the opposite route, which is, listen, I know you guys don't like me. I know I'm ex-Spurs. So I'm not going to try and fake it till I make it. I'm just going to make it clear that until I achieve some sort of success in your eyes, because we know that this is, and he went on to say, this is not going to be deemed a successful season for Chelsea. We can take successful things from it, as in Palmer and Jackson, and hopefully Europa League football is going to be deemed as a good end of season target reached. Maybe lessons learned from cup finals or semi-finals to hopefully strengthen us in next season and the season after. But it's not going to be looked as success, because success around here is winning. Success is trophies. Success is being at the top end. And that's how it should always be. You know, if we're going to get these players going up to the standard that we're used to previously, then obviously that's got to be the target. That's got to be the aim. That's success. But at the same time, he's also matched it up by saying, we can't do that right now. We can't win a title. We can't win a Champions League. We're not even in it. So what the old Chelsea was and what this Chelsea is currently is two different things. And I think that's a fair assessment to make. But obviously the target is to get to the old Chelsea, is to get back where we belong. So I liked his quotes on that. I thought he articulated it really well. He separated the two really nicely. Not like previous months where we've had Klopp comparisons or Pep comparisons or, all of that. This is a much better press conference. The last couple of press conferences, I think, have been a lot better, a lot calmer. And I think, I'll say calm, not calm, because he did kind of threaten to leave literally last week. But, I think we're getting better with it. So yeah, that was his comments on the success. The exact quote, you are punished because of the first 10 games. I want to be positive. Next season, I'm going to start, and I don't want to say we are young or talk about injuries. I hope we can talk about evolutions or in a tactical way. I really like that quote as well. Again, that kind of hints that he's saying next season, I am. So it's kind of already confirming that he's going to be here next season, which is a very big shift in rhetoric from the previous presser. So again, it's interesting. It's a very interesting situation. Now, for me, people, just to address this quote, which I think is the only one that I disagree with, is he said, it's important to keep strong in the mentality, of course, really believe. It's true that they are two really tough games. The team is doing very well in the second part of the season. The last 26 or 27 games, they are doing really well. We need to keep it this way, to keep trying to give our best. I disagree with this narrative that is coming up, which is now Chelsea have been really good since the turn of the year, because we're fourth best or whatever it is behind Man City, Arsenal, and Liverpool. Obviously, he had a chuckle, a smile, a little clap for the reporter that said that. But I lived it. You lived it. This turn of the year, it hasn't been rosy. It hasn't all been well. Now, the previous 3 games have been really good. 3 wins in a row. 1 draw against Villa, which is more than respectable, especially in the manner that we did it in the second half, changing the system. So they're all ticks. They're all positives. However, the whole year, I beg to differ. It's more mixed than really good. It's more mixed. You know, there's a Middlesbrough away game in there. There's a Liverpool away game in there. There's a Wolves at home game in there. Sheffield United and Burnley games in there against 10 men. Liverpool in a cup game in there. Even Leeds and Leicester home cup wins, which weren't convincing, in there. At Arsenal away in there. So and those are just the absolute X's. Those are the games that I think are, you know, there is no conversation about revisionism, about the tactics deployed, the in-game management with the subs, the players' performances. I think we can all categorically agree that those were bad games. I don't think we should go back and now say, the Middlesbrough away game wasn't that bad. I mean, Wolves at home, not being unbeaten against Sheffield United and Burnley, it's not that bad. Arsenal away, it's not that bad. Liverpool in the cup against Kids, it's not that. Let's not do that. There are ticks. Palace away, Aston Villa away, Man City away with the draw in the league, Middlesbrough at home, the 6-1 win, Everton at home, 6-0 win. There are ticks. It's mixed. At best, it's mixed. I'm not going to go as far to say it's brilliant or it's good or I'm impressed. It's mixed. And I think if we just be honest about that, because it wasn't so long ago people were saying, right, we're going to be protesting outside the bridge next week. You know, obviously we've mentioned sacking the manager after Wolves here on this channel. Those feelings weren't fabricated. Those feelings weren't plucked out of thin air. It was poor form accompanied by poor press conferences. So it's good. We're coming out of that. Really good response in the last 6-7, even if you want to go back to everything from Everton onwards, excluding Arsenal. It's really positive. City in the cup, it was respectable. We didn't win, we didn't go through, but I think we know why. We didn't take our chances. So from Everton onwards, excluding Arsenal away, it's really positive. Green shoots, right? A system. And maybe that means two things. Credit to the manager, but also does it mean that we could have won those Burnley, Sheffield games or, you know, other games if we had just had that system a little bit earlier, if we just made those tweaks with Cucurella a little bit earlier? Because as much as the bench against Forest really helped, don't get me wrong, having Nkuku, having Gusto, having James, having Sterling on the bench, strength in depth, options to, you know, change things really is really good, helps. The Tottenham game, we didn't have a bench at all, but we won really well because it looked like the system was in place, looked like we'd found a way of playing. We can't say that for those other games. So it's a mix. It's making it more of a fluid conversation, I guess, around the manager's future as opposed to definitively, definitely get out. Now, for me, listen, Tuchel is the dream. You know, if Tuchel was able to come back this summer, I'd bite your hand off. Does this squad suit Tuchel? I don't think it does. However, I'm more than open for Pochettino turning this around. He is starting to turn it around a little bit, and that's great. I'd love nothing more for him to, if he can keep things stable with the way of playing and the players, of course, really wanting him to stay, continue to develop those players, improve those players, a bit of stability, a bit of harmony, get us into the Champions League, which is what I wanted him to do in the first place when he arrived. You know, you should be able to get us into the Champions League next year if everything is going well with the injury front and the recruitment front, and get us to the level that then the maybe world-class guy comes in after the 2-year contract, the title-winning guy, the serial winner, after the mentality of the group has been corrected, after the little bits of development has been corrected in terms of the immaturity or the lack of awareness and, you know, the decision-making, all those little, you know, problems that Pochettino's had to deal with and has to compromise with at times. He's got that out of their system, so when we're ready to win, we win. That would be brilliant, because that wouldn't mean that his tenure was something to remember in the history of Chelsea, but it would have been very significant to getting us from A to B, from Lampard, Potter, to whoever it will be. And that is what he was here to do in the first place. He's never really expected to win a Prem, go up against Pep, or win a Champions League. I don't think he's that level. He hasn't shown it yet. But to get us from A to B, if he can do that in next season, if he's here, that's good. That's exactly what I expected. So right now, I think it's just important to just kind of have a nice perspective over the turn of the year, first of all. And then next, win those 2 games. Brighton, obviously this game that we're covering, Bournemouth next game, win those 2 games, hopefully get 6th. And then with the manager market being so bare, I'd say, you know, there was meant to be this merry-go-round, loads of guys were moving, maybe it would have appetized us, we would have snapped on something. Now there's not much movement. If he gets 6th, that is a good result for the end of the season, and maybe then it does open the conversation of him staying. We still keep an eye on you, keep making sure you stick to that system that you've just implemented, and, you know, but it opens up a dialogue which is not so toxic, and it says, you know what? We can tolerate this. We can accept this a little bit more. So it's an interesting one. But yeah, hopefully he does well. Hopefully he bounces back, and hopefully he picks up a trophy if he is to stay next season, because that's still the goal. In terms of the injuries, he says it's very good news from the last game to have many players back. Chile's really close, but not 100%. Carney also close. Both will be assessed tomorrow. But if not, we will see them on Sunday, of course. Yeah, the scroll bars at the bottom of the screen. I think we're down to like maybe 7 injuries, is it? I don't want to tempt fate, but this is really quite incredible at our football club. We're starting to get down into normal amounts of injuries. I think it might even be less. But check the scroll bar at the bottom of the screen regardless. And what was the previous quote? Well, it's obviously hinted at he's planning, working. We cannot take comment from my side to put in a negative way. I always try to be positive, try to translate my feelings to you and the people. I never said I wasn't thinking in the future. We are thinking in the future. The plan is there to start the preseason, the data, everything. It's not in my hands to be here or to not be here, which is a fair comment, obviously. It's going to be down to the board. And yeah, listen, that's basically everything in terms of the presser that I wanted to kind of get into. In terms of my team is on screen. I think the only thing that I'm kind of tossing up between is between Mudryk and Sterling. I think Mudryk, I've always said I just want to see him consistently to the end of the season, good or bad, play through the bad, hopefully becomes good, because there's an investment there that we've already kind of put down for the player, and he kind of needs to show that it was worth him being acquired. Now, Sterling, of course, has scored coming off the bench, and that was a really impressive goal. Mudryk scored as well, but Mudryk hasn't been maybe one of the brightest sparks in the run that we've been on. So there's a debate there for some. I've got Mudryk in there, but I can understand a conversation. The rest of the team, I'm trying to keep the same. I don't want to force Nkunku straight in. I don't want to force Reece James and Gusto straight in. I want to look after these players. I do like the fact that they can come off the bench and impact, change the system if it's not working. Of course, we know Nottingham Forest were a little bit more narrow in their block, and they were defending those central areas really well. Will Brighton do that? They'll probably play with a bit more freedom, a little bit more of the possession, a little bit, more of a press. I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be interesting to see how our system that has done well for us goes in this game. I don't want to say just because it didn't work in the first half against Forest, it's not going to work against Brighton. So look after the players. They're on the bench. They're there to be used if need be. But, we have shown against Tottenham in previous games that this team is capable of winning games. So let's see if they can do it against Brighton. Chalobah's been doing very well, etc. Badia Shield's been doing well. Silva's there as well. Caicedo, really, really good form from him. Gallagher's, in there as well, been contributing with some goals. So I don't really want to rip up the whole team. I know Madueke didn't have a great game. Ola Aina is a special player. Not many fullbacks will lock him up like that. That was a learning curve. I'd still leave him to go again. If you are moving Palmer to the right, you have to bring someone in the 10. Probably has to be Nkunku, and then you're also probably bringing in Gusto or Reece James at right back to give Palmer the overlap. So you're just probably moving too many things around. Whereas if we do what we've done, we invert Cucurella, we see how that goes for the first half, and then maybe at half time, if we have to make a change systematically, we can do that. But I wouldn't make 3-4 changes to the team we've been playing, which is what we'd probably have to do if we were going to start taking people out. So yeah, do let me know what you think in the comments down below. Make sure you smash up the likes. Make sure you subscribe. And I'll see you guys for the watch along. I'll be covering, obviously, this game alongside Man United Newcastle, which is very, very important to us later tonight. Then, of course, we're going to have to cover the last game of the season against Bournemouth at home on the Sunday. And yeah, hopefully that will give us a Europa League spot if Newcastle can drop points one more time. So until then, make sure you big up your damn selves as always. And I'll see you guys in a bit. In a bit, people. Peace.